Well, the calendar on the wall says the 23-24 basketball season is just around the corner. We have exciting new rules changes for National Federation of High School Basketball. That's what we're looking at today. Greetings, everyone. My name's Greg Austin with A Better Official. We've got new rules to discuss. Let's get after it. All right, what do we have on the agenda today? We're going to be talking about a huge rules change. No longer is there a 1-and-1 in National Federation of High School Basketball. We now have a 2-shot bonus. That's a huge change. We have throw-in spots, 4 of them in the front court. Let's clarify exactly what that means. Big change. In addition, a throw into the wrong team may now be rectified. Correctable? No, but rectified, yes. And there's also a change for a player voluntarily leaving the court, a common sense rules change, fixing one of the worst rules in National Federation of High School. We've got visitors wearing black undershirts. Visitors, no matter what the color of their jersey, may now wear black undershirts. That's a big change on the apparel front. On the uniform front, we've got a slight change to the rules bottoms, some restrictions there, and shot clock operator location. Even if you're in a state that doesn't use a shot clock, there's something in here for you. There's something for everybody. All right, we've got a lot to cover. Let's get started. All right, our first rules change today, a change to bonus free throws, eliminating the 1-and-1. No longer will there be 1-and-1 in National Federation of High School Basketball rules. Instead, we will move to a 2-shot bonus on the 5th foul in each period. At the end of each period, periods 1, 2, and 3, we will reset team fouls to 0. And then we will begin the next period anew with 0 team fouls for that team. Now, the rationale here is that a team may correct their play. They start the game, they're fouling, right? We reset at the end of maybe they reach bonus. We reset the team fouls at the end of the first period. They can regroup and say, we have got to stop fouling, etc. Gives them a chance to do that. The second period would start without bonus free throws for fouls. It avoids some correctable error scenarios, especially for us. In the beginning of the season, we need to be super aware, right? So it avoids correctable errors when it should have been 1-and-1 and we shot 2, or it should have been 2 and we shot 1-and-1, etc. But we still have the possibility of correctable errors. And here's my caution to you. Early in the season, we have to be super diligent because our internal clocks say, okay, we've had some fouls, but we're not even close to bonus yet. But now bonus will be on the 5th foul. So we have to be very aware of team fouls in the game going on early in the season. It'll take some getting used to, but we can do it. And it cuts down on rough play. Now, this rule is mimicking the collegiate women's rule, where they've had this rule in place for 4 or 5 years. And there's a lot of data that shows that it does cut down on rough play. No longer will we have players competing on the first of in a 1-on-1 situation, and the ball goes in the basket, and we had like competition going on the court that was not required, right? So we've eliminated that. There'll be fewer situations where there's rebounding on free throws, and we will cut down on that. So the rule itself, the bonus is the 2 free throws awarded for a common foul, except a player or team control foul, obviously, as follows. Beginning with a team's 5th foul in each quarter, 2 free throws are awarded regardless of whether or not the first free throw is successful. So essentially, we're going to a 2-shot bonus in this instance, and team fouls will be reset to 0 at the end of each quarter. Now, important to know, at the end of the 4th quarter, if we're going to overtime, we will not reset. The overtime periods are an extension of the 4th period, right? So just remember that, and we can get things correct. So, huge change. Change to bonus free throws, National Federation of High School for the 23-24 season. Okay, next up on the agenda, we've got 4 throw-in spots in the front court. This is new. It establishes 4 throw-in spots in the front court. And the wording here is really critical. When a team gains or retains possession in its front court due to a defensive violation, a common foul by the defense prior to bonus, or any other stoppage other than an out-of-bounds violation. Out-of-bounds violation goes to the spot nearest the violation. Any other stoppage that results in a throw-in for a team adjacent to their front court will be on one of the 4 throw-in spots. That's a huge takeaway here. The rationale is it removes officials' judgment. There's inconsistency about applying where the throw-in spot should be. Does it completely eliminate that? No, but it makes things simpler. And it allows teams to develop strategies specific to those 4 throw-in spots. Almost all of their front court throw-ins now are going to be from those 4 spots, and they can develop specific plays. If we look at the rule itself, it re-emphasizes, or Article 2 does not change, after an out-of-bounds violation to either the front court or the back court by either team, it will be a throw-in spot nearest to where the ball went out of bounds. Out of bounds, always, front court, back court, doesn't matter. Nearest the spot it went out of bounds. But here's the new change. After a violation, right, we have to make a judgment. Is this a backcourt throw-in? If so, it'll be at the spot of the violation. If it's a front court throw-in, it would be at one of our 4 spots. And we have to make that determination. And how we're going to do that, also in a resumption of play situation. If we have a held ball in the front court and the team retains possession in the front court, where is the throw-in going to be? It's going to be at one of the 4 spots. And we're going to use our diagram 5. These are the 4 throw-in spots. We have the table side 28-foot line, which will certainly be marked on all high school courts. We have 28-foot line opposite the table, which will almost certainly not be marked. And then we have spots on the end line that are 3 feet outside the intersection of the lane line and the end line. So we're bringing players out 3 feet out. We don't want to administer throw-ins under the basket. Those are the changes. And also the rule for point of interruption has been modified, recognizing the fact that if for any stoppage of play, if there was an inadvertent whistle by the officials and the ball was in the front court, we would go to one of the 4 spots. If there's a stoppage of play, there's a shot clock malfunction, there's a clock malfunction, the lights flickered, whatever, we're stopping play for any reason, front court status, it would be a front court throw-in. Small child runs onto the court, or a ball inadvertently rolls onto the court. We stop play. We're going to the point of interruption. If the point of interruption was team control in the front court, we will resume play with a throw-in at one of the 4 spots. Alternating possession, as we mentioned, will be if the team retains control of the ball due to the arrow being pointed in their direction and they have front court status and the ball has front court status, it would be a throw-in at one of the 4 spots. Just to review, out-of-bounds violation. Anywhere on the court, it does not matter. An out-of-bounds violation always goes to the spot where the ball went out of bounds. Simple, straightforward, no change. If the resulting throw-in will be in the team's backcourt, it will always be at the spot nearest the foul, the violation, or where the ball was when play was stopped. Spot nearest. We're not using the 4 spots when it comes to the backcourt. But if it's a front court throw-in, we're going to go always to one of the 4 spots for a foul, a violation, or any other stoppage of play. Obviously, out of bounds in the front court will be at the spot nearest where it went out of bounds. All other front court throw-ins will be at one of the 4 spots. It's simple. It's straightforward. It's going to take some getting used to, and it's something that we can do as a crew, right? As a crew, we can, when our partner designates a spot that's other than one of the 4 spots, we can help them out as a crew. The 4 throw-in spots, new National Federation of High School Basketball rules, an excellent change, one we'll get used to very quickly as the season gets going. Our next rule, throw-in to the wrong team may now be rectified. I like to use the word rectified and not correctable, even though we are correcting the situation, because this is not a correctable error situation. Important to know that going in, right? But this allows the official administering a throw-in to the wrong team to correct the mistake before the first dead ball after the ball becomes live, unless there is a change of possession. That's pretty straightforward, right? Previously, of course, once the throw-in ended by a legal touch, violation by the throwing team during the throw-in, that was our last opportunity to correct, right? Now we have more leeway because the practical application of this, we'll talk about in a second. The rationale is fairness, and it's a great rules change related to fairness. The rule itself, when an official administers a throw-in to the wrong team, the mistake shall be rectified before the first dead ball after the ball becomes live, unless there has been a change of possession, right? So the common scenario is we've either an alternating possession, or we are just erroneously there's confusion by the players, a player steps out of bounds, we administer the throw into them, and then usually within that first second or two, we realize, oh, wait a minute, right? And now we could say, even though the throw-in has ended, we could say, hold on. The ball became live. The ball has yet to become dead. We can fix this. We can give this to the correct team. And it's a good rules change, one we can all get behind. The previous rule was very punitive, in a situation where the officials made an error. The officials made an error, and it penalized one team harshly. So now throw-ins can be rectified after the ball becomes live, before the ball becomes dead. If we recognize, we may stop play and go back to the original spot of the original throw-in and give the ball to the correct team. This is a good rules change. Another fantastic rules change is a change to players voluntarily leaving the court, right? It establishes that a player may step out of bounds without penalty unless they are the first player to touch the ball after returning to the court, or if they left the court to avoid a violation. Unlike all other rule sets, high school used to say if a player decides, hey, I'm going to run out of bounds to get around some players or to avoid a player on the floor, or because I'm trying to, get to the other side of the court, etc. I make that decision. I'm voluntarily running off of the court. That's a violation. That was an out of bounds. The players need to be kept in that tight box. No other rule set requires that. This brings the NFHS rules more into line with others. The rationale, it allows a player to step out of bounds as long as they gain no advantage, right? If we look at the rule itself, Article 3, a player shall not step out of bounds under the player's own volition and then become the first player to touch the ball after returning to the playing court, or to avoid a violation. So the only real scenario where that would be the case is a player is in the lane, 1 second, 2 seconds. They realize, oh, I'm in the lane, and they decide I'm going to step out of bounds. I can voluntarily step out of bounds without it being a violation. But this does not alleviate the fact that they have been in the lane. So to avoid a violation, that would be the obvious one there. and they can step out of bounds and not be the first to touch the basketball. Now, this is a great change. Let's look at a couple of video clips here to really clarify. This is something that I think many officials are going to go down the wrong path, trying to read things into this. Okay, so let's look at some video clips and show exactly what this rule is addressing. Let's watch the player far side. They run voluntarily, leave the court, go out of bounds. Last year, this would have been a violation. It was ruled a violation in this 3-point playoff game with under 30 seconds. NFHS says this is nonsensical. Let's fix it. This player gained no advantage on this play. But specifically, this player is leaving the court voluntarily. They're choosing to run off of the court to get to another spot on the court. Right? That is what this rules change addresses. Let's look at another example and watch this player make a similar action. They run off the court. There's an illegal screen on this play, but then the player returns to the court and gets the basketball. So let's take the illegal screen out of the equation on this play. If there had been no illegal screen, this would be a violation this year because the player left the court of their own volition, but then they were the first to touch when they returned to the court. And that is the critical part of the equation that we have to be aware of. It is no longer a violation to simply run off the court, but it is a violation if we run off of the court and are then the first to touch the basketball upon returning to the court. But a key takeaway here is don't build things in like, okay, a thrower, when they make a throw in, they run and don't return, or a player leaving the court due to momentum, etc. This rule change does not affect any of those situations. This is designed to address these two situations where a player voluntarily decides, I'm going to go out of bounds to get someplace else on the court. Or we've designed this play to get me to the other side of the court, and I'm going to use the out of bounds area. So if a player steps out of bounds, or runs rather out of bounds, and gains no advantage, it is no longer a violation. Don't try to overthink this rule, but it's a great rules change. Common sense rules change. That's all I can say. A great change by NFHS to bring this into a more common sense approach for players running voluntarily off of the court. We like it. We like the rules change. Next up, visitors may now wear black undershirts. That is a big change, one that we're going to have to get used to visually. That's my biggest takeaway on this. This allows undershirts worn under visiting team jerseys to be black or a single solid color similar to the torso of the jersey. Last year and all previous years, undershirts had to be the color of the predominant portion of the jersey, the predominant color. Red jerseys, red undershirts, purple jerseys, purple undershirts, etc. And NFHS said this puts a lot of pressure on teams that have hard to match colors. A team wears brown, they wear green, they wear purple, they wear orange. They're at a disadvantage in trying to match. Many officials would allow black undershirts under purple for convenience. It was such a hassle to deal with. NFHS says, let's make it simple. Visiting teams may wear black undershirts. Okay? Now, the key component here, though, is they can wear black undershirts or they can wear the predominant color of the jersey, but they may not wear both. So a team that wears red jerseys could wear red undershirts, or they could wear black undershirts, but all team members who participate must have the same color undershirt. So we've given freedom to those teams to make those changes, to wear black under their yellow. Oh, hard to look at. It's going to take some getting used to. Undershirt under their jersey, under those yellow jerseys. It gives them the freedom to do that. But it's simple. It's binary. It has to be solid color, similar to the torso of the jersey, or black. Not both. Not both. So this is going to take a lot of pressure off of schools. It's going to make our jobs easier in the long run. It's going to take some getting used to visually, right? Gives more freedom to those teams for the upcoming high school season. Next up, a really simple change to uniform bottom rules, simply adding a similar color restriction. Of course, uniform bottom, so they must be like colored, right? Green, off green, light green, etc. Of course, there's no real rules change other than the color restriction here. It clarifies that they must wear like-colored bottoms. The rules change itself just adds like-colored uniform bottoms, that language, into the rule itself. Simple and straightforward. We've got some example pictures here. Of course, teams can wear shorts, pants, or skirts. There's no rules change there. Those have always been the case. Those are all allowed. They must be similar in color, though. That is the rules restriction here. Now, obviously, this is going to put pressure on lower level teams, freshmen, JV. It's going to be handled maybe differently in in different associations, how they handle it, where equipment can be, willy-nilly at best. But the change is just saying, look, if you're the uniform bottoms, shorts, pants, skirts must be of a like-colored. Must be like-colored. Not the same colored, like-colored. That's a simple one. All right, one final rules change, shot clock operator location, right? It's like, what's going on? Shot clock. Many states don't use shot clocks. Many states are adopting shot clocks. It requires the shot clock operator to be a part of the table crew and sit at the table. For states like California, where we've had a shot clock for decades, this is, of course, the common sense thing to do and the requirement. But in new states that are adopting it, what this brings up is, and the rationale is, we need our shot clock operator at the table. I mean, bottom line, it's really straightforward. But the thing that this is bringing up is that there's new technology in place that allows electronic scoreboards and replacing a fixed scoreboard on the wall, which would be traditional, and replacing it with a digital scoreboard. And that digital scoreboard is driven off of an iPad. So the technology is changing, allowing somebody operating the iPad to not be sitting at the table. There's no cord involved. They could sit, potentially, at the 28-foot line, 24 rows up, because they're just managing the scoreboard. Or they could sit several rows back or back from the table. So all this does is clarify that shot clock operators, if you are in a state that uses shot clocks, must be at the table. They are part of the table crew, and points out to officials that the electronic scoreboard situation is something we're going to have to get used to. There's issues now with going to 5 team fouls, software updates with the software that drives those boards. And something in the early season we're going to have to manage our way through. All right. So the rule itself, if in a note, if using a shot clock, the operator shall be located at the scorers and timers table. Yes. They are part of the table crew. All right. That is a simple tag-on rules modification. Yeah. We'll end with that. But in the end, let's just review what we have covered today. Change to bonus free throws. Obviously, that's huge. No longer 1-1, two-shot bonus. We've got throw-in spots in the front court now, 4 of them. Learning to handle things and intuitively going to those 4 spots takes some getting used to. We will get used to it soon, early in the season. If we have a throw-in that is awarded to the wrong team, they're either an alternating possession throw-in or otherwise, we can rectify the situation before the first dead ball, giving us more latitude there to get the play right and not have our hands tied by when the throw-in ends. Voluntarily leaving the court has been changed. Hallelujah. An improvement, in my judgment, to the rule. Visitors may now wear black undershirts. That's a big one for many teams, visiting teams. Doesn't matter, if it's a traditional color, non-traditional. They may wear black undershirts, but obviously all team members who participate must wear the same color undershirt. Uniform bottom rules, just adding a color restriction that they be like colored, and shot clock operator's location. All right, in my judgment, fantastic rules changes for the upcoming season. Let's all go forward and have tremendous basketball seasons. We'll get used to these rules, really work as a crew early in the season to make sure we're identifying situations, bonus free throws, and those 4 throw-in spots being the big ones. Also knowing that we can rectify throw-ins, etc. Let's be really good with the rules, with these rules changes. Let's have a great season. What do you say? Let's go. Take care, everybody.